Insanity, insanity, whatever happened to humanity? Ooh.
Men is a folk supernatural horror film that has been written and directed by Garland. Harper Marlowe decides to spend a holiday alone in a small village of Coston, following the apparent suicide of her husband James. She spends this holiday in the hopes that she will get over his death and eventually move on, but she soon starts to see visions of James everywhere, and soon comes to an awful conclusion that would make her time in the village much worse. I honestly don't know how to feel about this film. Now with A24, it's nothing new. A24 is known for taking a normal story and bending it, shifting it, butchering it, and turning it inside out in a way where we as fans can be related to the story, but majority of us cannot relate to the supernatural and the fiction of what's handed to us. Now, with this movie, I was not prepared for what was to come with this film, especially when it comes to the relation of this movie and the main character itself, Harper Marlowe. Her personal loss with her husband was something that I have experienced myself, and it traumatized me, and it put me back to an open wound gesture that I thought I moved on, and I have moved on, but this film has gave me those memories back. I have not told this to anyone except two people, and this was a movie that really want me to, I need to express this. I have been through a breakup, and this breakup was like a breakup that I have never ever encountered. It started off pretty simple. Me and my ex, we hit it off pretty well, and we ended up breaking up. She actually broke up with me, nothing particularly serious. It was just a difference of opinion. It was a difference of opinion, and it came out to an argument. And it didn't make sense to me at one point. At one point, I was trying to reach out to her, try to talk to her, because it's not like I called her out of her name, disrespect to her or anything like that. It was just something that I disagreed with. She came to a conclusion of me accusing her of something, and I tried to come clean and try to tell her, hey, look, this is not what really happened. It wasn't the way it was. Please, let's try to make sense to it. And that's the reason why I try to tell people in my mental therapy sessions that no matter how the breakup was, it's always good to have closure to it. So the person that you're ending things with can at least mature, because you will never know. People can change. And that's why I try to tell her, if this was my fault, let's address this so I could, so I can learn from it. But she never reached me. She never tried to talk to me, even though there were times where I would text her, try to send her messages to try to check up on her, even though I was trying to get over the relationship, get over the breakup is what I mean. But she never responded. I know she read them, but she never responded. It was like me trying to reach out to a dead person. They're not there, but they are there. And the reason why I'm saying that is because even though she wasn't around, she was around while I was not present. And what I mean by that is that she was making sure that I was suffering. She was making sure that I was not getting over the breakup, and she was making sure that whatever happens, that I would still have ridicule and I would still be traumatized of her just walking out of my life like that, even though what we went through was not enough for her to go through that phase for me to suffer from it. Eventually, I had to move on. I moved on. I ended up getting over the whole thing because it was beating me up, and I ended up dating again, and I found a very beautiful female, and we ended up, she ended up helping me get over that void. She listened to me. I told her everything that happened, even the things that I've messed up on, And by that, it ended up making me becoming a more mature person, and me being aware of the things I needed to address. But at the same time, as I was being in a relationship, that my ex tried to reach out to me. She tried talking to me again. And I've kind of done the same thing she's done to me. I didn't reach her. I didn't talk to her, but my reasons was different. She done that to spite me. I've done that because I was dating. And I think she knew that. A few months after, I found out that she committed suicide. I don't know if it was because of me or because of what I was going through or what she was going through. But that's the reason why I tell people we need to have closure to things. We can't just cut people off. Otherwise, things like this will happen. And we will walk out of this world, ending our lives without having no type of reconsent or no type of closure to telling people why these things are happening or why we're feeling this way. Because people can change and people could go through these things, and who knows, it can save our lives as well, for the better or maybe for worse. But it's always worth a shot, because when you kill yourself, it's no coming back from that. Let's get on to this review. What I love most about this film is that this movie has material. It has depression. It has a lot of good build-up with suspense, horror, drama, and a lot of chemistry with Greek mythology. And it knows how to add these to the film to the point where it all makes sense, especially when it comes to the pacing of the characters. I loved Jessie Buckley as Harper Marlowe. She has done a very good job as a character. What I liked about her and her character is that even though she is on this trip to get over the loss of her husband, but at the same time, this movie likes for you to be in the eyes of her character. Even though there are times where she's doing things, or she's talking to her friend on the phone, or where she's like admiring certain scenes of the area, there are times where she's alone, and there are quiet times. In those times when it's quiet, she thinks about the past. And it gives us more knowledge of what she has been through between her and her abusive husband. And those moments will hit you hard. Those moments will hit, will make you feel uncomfortable, but in a way where you have to buckle down and you have to be in the shoes of what she has been through. And at the same time, and if you're like me, it will hit you home. It will make you feel uncomfortable in a way where the movie has done a very good job of you relating to the character. Now, Papa, as a dude and he played as the husband, I liked his character too. His character is believable. His character is imposing, but at the same time, he had a bleeding heart gesture of his character, and I believed it. I felt like his character was well warranted, and I feel like even though some people may debatably say that they wish that there was more drama between these two characters before things ended up being this way, but if that was the case, then it would take a while for the movie to start. The movie starts after she goes through this, not before. So I felt like we needed some chemistry, but not too much to the point where it driven us away from the film by us showing how she would get over the death, not before it happened. And it shows this. It shows this in a brief way where it was acceptable, and I did not have no problem with it. Papa has done a very good job as a husband, and Rory Kinnear as Jeffrey. Now, all those two characters that I mentioned, his character is Oscar worthy. His performance was indeed unsettling, was indeed charming, was indeed twisted, was indeed vicious, was indeed horrifying, was indeed traumatizing. His character is unquestionably very, very well executed. I felt like A24 and Alex Garland, he did a good job picking these characters. And by him choosing Rory Kinnear as Jeffrey, I did not know what to expect. This is a film that is not just good with the scenery and the chemistry of you knowing what to expect, but you have to give praise to the acting, and I have to give credit to what credit is due. This movie is an eye peeler. You have to pay very close attention to the film when it comes to certain shots and certain scenes that stays in place for a very, very, very long time. This movie has a lot of good mixtures when it comes to horror aspects. And when it comes to horror, it has a good breed of the creativity of horror too, especially the tunnel scene. The tunnel scene really pulled me in a lot. And it was the beginning of the film where she just literally just yells and echoes, and it echoes back at her. Ha, 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 ha. I've noticed that there's a lot of scenes on this film, a good hand-picked few. If people are watching this film and they are big fans of anime, like old genres of anime, they would notice that this film has a good replication of Perfect Blue. There's even scenes where our character is screaming in the water, just like the main protagonist in Perfect Blue. And there are also twisted scenes into this film too, not to replicate Perfect Blue, but in its own way of creativity. And I loved it. I thought that this is not just a film that has good horror aspects and drama aspects, but it has pulled me into the point where this is a new breed of horror that I was not ready to open the door to. Same thing when it comes to Greek mythology as well. This movie has good Greek mythology references when it comes to the forbidden fruit, Adam and Eve, and when it comes to losing your virginity at a certain age. At the end of the day, A24 is a company that you don't know what to expect watching their films. You can't judge a whole film when it comes to their trailers. You have to literally buckle down and ask yourself, is it worth seeing? Is it worth checking out? Even when it comes to people watching a film like this and they tell you, I did not like it or I did like it, you have to see it for yourself, because a movie like Men is a film that not a lot of people will like, but not a lot of people would not like, especially if they are new to the A24 films. Me, that is a fan of A24, I know what to expect. But by me watching this film, I did not know what I was getting myself into. I did not know that this film was going to be bursting with so much of this material to the point where I got traumatically wounded in a bad way. But I can't say this film is bad because of this. They push an envelope to the point where they want films to be relatable, but at the same time they want to pick the minds of the characters, especially the ending. I didn't even talk about the ending, and I don't want to talk about the ending. The ending. I'm going to have to give Men an A+. Watch this movie. Watch it for everything that I mentioned. This movie will not disappoint those that are into twisted horror, good fiction when it comes to the chemistry of the mindset of the madness of these characters, and the pacing of the dialogue of what the personal loss of the character that I mentioned has been through. Will I watch this film again? Probably not for a very long while. But it will play a very big place in my heart. And I'm going to have to believe that this is one of the best films that A24 has made this year. Well, that's all I have to say for today. Please stay tuned for my upcoming movie reviews and videos. Hit it your way. This is Hugo, your critic teacher, and you guys have a good day.